Welcome back once again, Linda. What a fabulous week we have had. And our inbox keeps getting filled with viewer questions. And I love this one because, as you know, I love doing my commercial to residential conversions, particularly shops. We've just done a application ourselves for a prior bank that I used to work for. I liked it that much, I went and bought it. And you've been fabulous assisting me with that, Linda. So if you need Linda's help, reach out to Linda Wright on her social media platforms and ask her for your help. Now let's deep dive into this question right now, Linda. We've got a shopping centre. It's more a parade of shops than an indoor shopping centre, sorry. So there's no restrictions on access in and out. They don't pay any maintenance fees to anybody, so it's just what you call a secondary parade of shops from the looks of it. Now, this person here is Jimbo, and thank you, Jim, for your question. Really appreciate it. And it's actually quite a good question that you've got here. He searched on the planning website, so tick in the box, well done, you've been doing your due diligence. And it said that there's a constraint on it, and it describes it as a district and local centre. Now what Jim would like to know is, a few years ago he did some amateurish research to find out what this meant, and as far as he could understand, it meant his shopping parade was protected, and for that reason it couldn't be turned to residential use way back when, unless he could prove that it was no longer viable to run as a shop, in which case, if after marketing for a period of time, he could then convert. So his question is, with all of these new prior approvals and permitted development rights, quasi-permitted developments, can he convert this building to residential, because have those permissions expired? So I think he's referring to, he might think it's an Article 4. Is that the thinking there? Or Linda, welcome.
Thank you. Where do we start with? And thank you for your question, because it's a really good question, and it's a generic question that lots of other people are going to be, not just yourself, but lots of other people are going to be interested in the answer to, I would have thought. Or maybe I just overthink that people are interested in planning and really they're not. But we'll give it a go. So what happens is, in local development plans, the council of old, and a lot of these local plans are very, very elderly, and they're, decades old, some of them. They want to protect local, district, town centre, city centre. They want to protect the hub of their retail offering. Now, to be perfectly honest, with the decimation that we've seen of most of our, certainly city centres and town centres, that might just be going by the wayside now. And one of the issues that the central government identified in all the new reforms that have come out is to preserve the vitality and economic viability of town, city centres and district centres. And that was the reason why councils up and down the England, we're only talking about England here, up and down the country have got these policies. And you'll find most councils, if you look into their local plans, if you're an insomniac and you need to get yourself to sleep at night, they will have similar policies. They're all slightly different because it depends on the area, but it will go from main town centres down to district centres, down to local shopping parades, that type of thing. And there will be you've not told us which council it is, so we can't actually pull this up, share the screen and show what the policy is. So we don't know what the council is. But they're much of a muchness, and they will say that, look, if you are wanting to convert these shops, you have to prove that they're no longer viable. So that is where the prove for 12 months or 2 years that it's been marketed as such and there have been no takers. Then and only then can you then convert. This has it's been swept aside by central government's new legislation in the form of this year now, Class MA of the General Permitted Development Order, which means that properties in use class E usage, they can be converted to residential. So if it's not in a conservation area, then you don't need to worry about the ground floor shop frontage and the window front. So if you wanted to submit a prior approval application to convert whatever the use is, I don't know, hairdressers, I was going to say tobacconists. Do they have tobacconists anymore? I don't think they do they?
Is that in vogue anymore? I think it's more likely to be called a vape shop.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're quite right. So, not necessarily a hairdresser, but
a vape shop.
A vape, we'll go with vape shop. They're everywhere, aren't they? Right. So any kind of shop that falls within the new use class E can be converted to residential under the use class of the GDPO MA. You have to submit a prior approval application. Now, lots of people think that the prior approval applications are a done deal. They're just rubber stamp and it'll all be done and dusted and it's fine.
Are you telling me they're not?
No.
They're not?
Definitely not. No. So, but they in the Class MA, you will, if you want to submit a Class MA prior approval, the building has to have been vacant for a continuous period of at least 3 months before you submit the application. Also, it has to have fallen within use class E or any of the other former use classes for a 2-year period before you submit the application. So those are the only time criteria, and it must be for the area that's changing use must be no more than 1,500 square meters, so 1,500 square meters. So those are the main criteria. There's lots of others, trust me. Those are the main criteria that you have to be aware of. But you can submit an application to convert this property despite the policy in the local plan. Now, because these prior approval applications they're a hybrid, they're a bit of a strange beast, and the council generally cannot use their policies to refuse. However, there are certain issues in here that the council can take into account, and a lot of councils are taking these points and using them to refuse because they don't want to lose the shop in the shopping parade. It's a bit naughty, and I'm waiting to hear on a couple of appeals as to how this has been interpreted by the planning inspectorate, but the planning inspectorate is sort of inundated at the moment. So there will be issues such as transport impacts of the development. So if there's no insufficient car parking for the proposed change of use, it can be refused. Contamination risks, flood risks, impact of noise from commercial premises on the intended occupiers of the development. So that can be used as a reason for refusal. I think we know it's not in a conservation area, so we don't need to worry about that. You've got to have the provision of adequate levels of natural light to all habitable rooms. So if it's a very if it's in a terrace or a shopping parade, if it's a very long and narrow building and you've only got windows at the front and a couple of windows at the back, that you may fall foul of that. That may be an issue. And if it's in, obviously it's not in an industrial area, so we don't need to worry about that. And I'm just going through the legislation here. So most of that, if you can comply with that, but please don't assume that because it's a prior approval that the council have to approve it. They do not. And lots of councils now are finding ways to refuse these things. So you just need to be aware of that. But your question was about the council policy. That council policy has almost been set aside because central government, the main legislation, has overridden it. So lots of these development plans are going to have to be rewritten.
Well, I think that's a really brilliant answer. And what we're effectively saying to Jimbo, who I forgot to add, Linda, and let me just read the last line of his message to you was, hang on a second. Thank you very much for all your kind videos. They're really brilliant. So thank you, Jim. But yeah, and he congratulates us on a great YouTube channel as well. So well done. And he's looking forward to this reply. But a couple of things that you've sort of talked about, and we will be doing a video in the future on noise, put my false teeth in, noise on potential occupiers, because we've got a really great case going on at the moment. So smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the share button and the bell icon, more importantly, to be the first to hear when we release that video. And the other thing that we're working on is a video in the future giving an update on something we've talked about before, which was a case in Windsor where a commercial conversion was denied by the local council. It's gone to appeal, and unfortunately because of the COVID situation, the appeal is taking longer. So again, make sure you are subscribed to this channel and have hit the bell icon to be the first to hear about those news updates when we release them. Linda, brilliant. Class MA, love it all the way to the bank. We did some great videos if you've not watched it before. We've also done some great videos on the use class order. Therefore, stay tuned. Linda, you've been brilliant. Thank you once again. Urge everybody to reach out to you. Linda Wright of Planet Right. Great planning consultant. Does work for myself on projects that I do. And smash that social media button for Linda, just to let her know that you're there, and reach out and ask you questions. Anything you want to rap with, Linda. And that's not a rap.
Oh, God forbid. No, never in a million years would I be seen as a rapper. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Andrew, for going through the questions, posing them, and in order for me to bat the answers back at you. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Thank you very much from me, Andrew, and from Linda Wright of Planet Right.